One of the things that is amazing to me is how stupid and short-sighted these Republican members of Congress are, and their absolute unwillingness to recognize the reality that we're all facing. Many of these members of Congress, many of these Republicans actually hate Donald Trump. They really do. Not all of them. Obviously, there is now a sizable, true believing MAGA contingent that have gotten elected in the last 10 years. But still, they're a minority. Most Republicans hate this fucking guy. They hate the position that they're in. But because of their cowardice and their ambition, they go along with all of this. They dare not stand up to any of this for fear of Donald Trump taking aim at them to destroy their careers. They've seen what happens to Republicans who have tried over the years, not that there have been many, to stand up to Trump. The truth is, if they had all just... what is that deer doing? That is some odd behavior. Anyway, if they had all... Sorry, I'm a little distracted by this deer. Anyway, if they had all just stood together, they could have gotten rid of this man, endured the temporary shit they would have gotten from the MAGA base, and that would have been it. They'd be done with this guy. I mean, the clearest example of this would have been voting to convict him in the second impeachment trial. They wouldn't be in this position. They would have had someone else as the Republican nominee last time. They'd be done with Donald Trump. They wouldn't be living in fear of a mean tweet, threatening a primary because they dared to disagree with Trump in any way. So the truth is, if they had just locked arms and had one moment of courage, they could have been rid of him forever. But instead, they all cowered in fear, and they do his bidding now. I mean, look at how many of them, with the passage of this big, beautiful piece of shit bill, how many of them were outspoken against it. They know it's garbage. They don't want to face the voters in a year and a half from now and have to defend it. They even threatened not to vote for it, but they all got in line at the end because they're cowards. And they hate that they had to do it, but they're cowards. Anyway, so they're going along with all of this, thinking that it is in their own personal best interest for their future career. They don't play out, they don't game it out. What happens if Donald Trump is successful in what he wants to do? And this is where they lie to themselves. They refuse to face reality. And the reality is, Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. And importantly, the people around him want him to be a dictator. These Project 2025 people, Russ Vought, Stephen Miller, all of these people who are really running policy in this Trump regime, especially those two, they're the puppet masters right now. Most of the policies we're seeing is Russ Vought and Stephen Miller, and they want him to be a dictator. They want to dissolve this constitutional republic and have Donald Trump be a dictator for life, because that's the ultimate power. They will be in power. And these Republicans in Congress don't want to face the fact that that's what is going on here. Donald Trump is not more than likely just going to, if he's still with us that long, and he's not a healthy person, I don't believe, but assuming he's still with us by the end of his term, he's not just going to go away. He's not just going to go retire and play golf at Mar-a-Lago. More than likely, especially at the urging of Stephen Miller and Russ Vought and these other people, he's not going to leave. And if he is successful, and to not leave would mean an overthrow of the republic. That's what it would mean. And that's what he tried to do on January 6th. And so if he is successful in doing that, what are these fucking Republicans, these cowards in Congress who go along with this now because they're so scared and they're so worried about protecting their future careers? What do they think is going to happen to them at that point? If Donald Trump is successful in making himself a dictator and essentially dissolving this constitutional republic, at that point, the Constitution is done. I mean, in so many ways, it's not in effect anymore anyway. Once he stays in power after his term is over, it's all over. It's all over. What do these Republicans think is going to happen to them at that point? Do they really think there's going to be a Congress? There's not going to be a Congress. Have they not even watched Star Wars? I mean, if you just even watch Star Wars, you could see what's going to happen. You know, what did the Emperor do? He eventually dissolved the Imperial Senate, right? And just ruled as a dictator with his thugs controlling different aspects of the empire, different areas of the empire. That's what Donald Trump will implement if he is successful in overthrowing the republic. He will get rid of Congress. He'll just dissolve it. And who's going to stop him? The courts? Does John Roberts, Chief Justice John Roberts, does he think he's going to have a job? Turning himself into pretzels, trying to rule in Trump's favor? You know, that horrible immunity decision and everything that's come since. Do they think that there's going to be a court? And these members of Congress think there's going to be a Congress? They're not going to have their positions anymore. So in being so worried about their futures, and they want to stay in Congress forever. And in every way that they've bent down to this man and refused to stand up because they're worried about their careers are going to be over. If Trump is successful, there will be no Congress, there will be no courts. Maybe he will have adjudicative bodies of some sort, kangaroo courts that he runs out of the executive branch. You know, like these immigration courts. They're not really courts. They're administrative law judges. They're hearing officers inside the executive branch. Maybe he'll have some sort of kangaroo court system that he controls, especially, you know, for having trials for his political enemies, rigged trials, you know, like Putin does in Russia. So these friggin' Republicans, they're gonna lose everything along with the rest of us if Donald Trump ultimately gets what he wants. These people are just too stupid to see it. They just refuse, like Mitch McConnell. When he refused to engineer Trump's conviction in the second impeachment trial, because he could have easily done it. When he refused to do that, he thought, why anger the base? Trump is gone. He's never coming back. He lost this election. That'll be the end of him. He will be prosecuted in the courts for what he did on January 6th, and we never have to worry about him again. They make these kinds of, you know, rationalizations to rationalize their cowardice, and they continue to do it. And at one point in the not too distant future, unless the American people rise up, because apparently this Congress never will, we're going to lose it all. Trump will be absolute dictator, and these people are going to be out of a job anyway. Fucking morons.